computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Hello and welcome, dearest friends of this here internet. I am back. My name is Mark and I am broadcasting live from within the chaos of reality itself. Am I... Okay. I just kind of started streaming on a whim. Well, not really on a whim. I set everything up and I was like, you know what? Screw it, let's just start. It seems like everything's functional. Alright, so right back at it again. Same strat. Gonna be drawing and gonna be reacting to some videos. One thing I did forget to set up was the YouTube view. There we go. So the first video I'm reacting to is a video that I've been wanting to watch for a while and I keep putting it off. So finally I'm watching it today. And the drawing I'm working on is different.
For dogs. For office dogs.
I've actually been working on this drawing for a while. I don't know if I ever worked on this on stream. I don't really remember. But it's a semi-old drawing. And I have made quite a bit of progress on it. I got tired of working on the other one just because I don't know, I just needed something different. What the hell do... Oh. Cancel that. Actually, real quick, I am gonna go take a break. There's one thing that I forgot to do before I started, so I'll make sure that that is done and I'll be right back. I'm currently wearing my Dragon Ball t-shirt from... Where the hell did I get this shirt? I think... Uniqlo? Yeah, I believe that's right. Got this shirt at Uniqlo. It's one of my favorites. Right, so now that I have my earphones in, let's get started. So this was a video by DanFan. I actually used to watch DanFan semi-regularly, like way back in my like teenage years. And I haven't really been keeping up with her at all, but this video was pretty interesting. That's not what I wanted. There we go.
I left it alone, and I stopped thinking about it. Up until about 9 months later, when I made a tweet about how the demons in the show are kinda weird, and people sent me death threats. So now I get to use the power of my YouTube channel to prove my point.
Well, you can always tell that a video essay is going to be well-informed and balanced when it's made out of spite to our particular fandom. Hello everybody and welcome to the DanFan channel. We're going to be talking about demon posting. Now for those of you who don't know, the term demon posting originally I believe comes from the term bug posting, which is this idea that certain types of people will try to defend the villains in all media even if they are inhuman in nature. And the term bug posting actually comes from...
That is so dumb. I can understand empathizing with the villains in a story to some extent, but some people go so far with it. I was gonna say I don't understand it, but you know, maybe some people are just maybe the only ones that they relate to are the villains, in which case it's not very good.
From the movie Starship Troopers, where people defend the bugs. And obviously this is applied to many other types of media, but in this case we're talking about Frieren. Now the main antagonists that are introduced in this series are demons, and so here we have a classic case of a demon poster who just wants to defend the demons and insinuate that it is wrong to kill demons and that Frieren is doing a big bad. The issue that I take
Actually is the fact that demons aren't human, and they aren't even like fully sentient on the same level as humans within the lore of Frieren. And I really love that lore because of the fact that it actually showcases a lot of what would you say? It showcases reality in a different light. The demons of Frieren are entities which utilize basically human language and concepts in order to manipulate and manipulate humans and extract as much value as they possibly can from them. And in our world, this does happen, but it isn't necessarily people who act this way. From what I understand, it's more like metaphysical ideas, ideologies, concepts which possess people to act this way.
take with it is how deceptive he is when he makes a lot of the points that he makes. He misinterprets a lot of things, and I'm not sure if that's just because he himself didn't understand the material when he watched or read Frieren, or if it's because he's purposefully misconstruing it to prove his point in the video. So I'm gonna bring up some of the points that he makes, and I'm just gonna give my thoughts on this demon poster here.
There is no like evil god or dark magic that really created them like in most fantasy settings. They seemingly don't have any connection to divinity at all. They're just a species of creature, same as everything else.
But also, okay, I'm not like super well versed in Frieren lore. I'm not like a scholar of the, Frieren realm, but from what I understand, we haven't had that much information revealed to us about the origins of the demons. So I don't even know if he's correct on this. Are they really just a species? Is there some sort of deeper backstory? From what I remember, they just kind of are, and not everyone is entirely sure, not everyone is entirely sure of where they came from. And real quick, I'm gonna be eating while I watch this because I got some conchas and I'm not gonna let them go to waste.
What are you talking about? You don't know that, because we don't actually get to know what the origins of demons are.
And it's even revealed that they're a product of evolution.
Evolving from your original state does not necessarily debunk that you were created by something. Keep in mind, guys, there is a goddess of creation. Now, yes, there's a lot of things that aren't known about the goddess yet. There's a lot of mystery behind her, people questioning whether or not she actually does exist, but her magic is very real and scattered throughout the entire Frieren universe. So then the question becomes, did humans come from the goddess? Did demons come from the goddess? Are there other deities besides her? Do demons reproduce the same way humans do? I mean, we don't know. They could just come out of pits. They could come out of portals from somewhere else. We literally don't know what the demon origin is. But as we see when they die, they dissolve into mana particles. So this does solidify that monsters and demons, wherever they originated, they have a similar origin. An origin that is separate from everything else on Earth.
They're just a species of creature, same as everything else. Wrong. One of the demons is threatened by someone over the death of their son, to which the demon responds by saying they too lost a father, which spares their life. Yet later, when it's just two demons alone together, one of them asks what a father even is, and they don't know. This is a scene that completely baffles me, because why would the other demon even bother to ask this question? One, this means that demons seemingly don't have their own language and just use human speech to talk to each other, even when humans aren't around, which directly contradicts them telling us there's only one reason they speak like humans. To inquire about it further means they have a willingness to understand human language beyond just deception and out of genuine curiosity.
Even in the
That one's a little bit difficult. No, it was not that difficult because he's clearly, this demon is clearly going along with the conversation and the concepts being utilized in the conversation, right? The female demon doesn't understand what the conversation is about. She doesn't understand the topic. Obviously because demons don't have parents. And later, she inquires once they've left the conversation in order to better understand the tactics utilized during that conversation. So it isn't necessarily that she might be curious for the sake of curiosity, but rather you may be curious about the language utilized for future reference, so that in the future she can better understand how to utilize these concepts against humans.
Example that he's using, the only reason these demons are talking to each other or sharing any information is to achieve their goal of getting the city to remove its protective barrier. So technically, yeah, they are still using their speech as a weapon. If you can accept that demons...
Right, that's exactly what I was... Jeez, I'm talking with my mouth full. That's exactly what I was thinking. She inquires about the language utilized during that conversation, because she understands it was utilized as a weapon and wants to better understand how she might be able to utilize it going forward as a weapon.
adapted enough to take on the appearance of humans and talk like them, then why would it be absurd to also accept that they share information with each other to better achieve a common goal of oppressing humans? She doesn't understand the concept of a father, but maybe if she did, she could also utilize it to manipulate a human like Lugnir did. However, the demon poster here misconstrues this to meaning the only reason why demons speak any language ever and ever communicate with anyone is to deceive. And then he uses that as a point to be like, well, they use language to communicate with each other though, and say other things besides deception. So
Yeah, no. They utilize human speech with humans in order to deceive humans. He's going off of the premise of never believe a liar because a liar always lies, and then this becomes, an obvious paradox, because it's just like, well, if a liar tells you that he's dying, does that mean that he's lying? If a liar tells you that he's thirsty, does that mean that he's also lying? Like, if a liar tells you he is a liar, then does that mean that he's lying? He's working himself. He's working himself into knots.
sometimes they don't lie. The concept is telling you that all demon speech is meant to reach the same goal of destroying humanity, but the demon poster seems to take it super literally to mean that demons actually lack the ability to speak unless they are speaking lies to a human.
I'm Adam Fisher. And I'm Tyler Fish, and we're the co-founders of Sunhome Saunas. We saw the market was already flooded with local...
Bro, I'm fucking poor. What do you mean saunas?
It shows they lie out of self-preservation, which is also strange because we're explicitly told they are being deceptive by doing this, yet they are genuinely begging for their life.
Yes, the way that they beg for their life is very deceptive.
Whoa. I can't even speak. My mouth is so full right now. Has bro even watched the show? What is he talking about? That has been used as an example of demon deception. The ways in which they beg for their life are a means of deception in order to emotionally weaken their opponents so that they can drop their guard and be taken advantage of. What is he talking about?
Because they are trying to convince you that they are just like you, and that you should feel bad for them actually, despite the fact that they did a bunch of terrible things to you. If they were being genuine, then they wouldn't have to lie. They lie this way because they know that this is how humans get empathy from other humans. And they do this not only to save their own skin, they also do it so that they can make humans drop their guard. Because the fact of the matter is, whether or not a human shows a demon mercy, it doesn't change their ultimate goal. It doesn't change their instinct to continue to prey on humans. And being evil does not mean that you don't have any self-preservation. In fact, they make it a point to say throughout the series that they have a big sense of ego and pride. All of the actions that the demons take are out of some form of selfishness. It's for their own benefit. The demon girl who ate another woman's child did not feel empathy towards the child even as they were crying out for their mother to help them. Instead, what they did was they utilized the knowledge that you could cry out for a mother to help you to try to save her own life. The demon poster in this video tries to claim that they do have empathy.
And actually, it's very interesting. Like I was saying earlier, the examples of demon behavior that are present in Frieren lore are very human. They are very real. Many people behave this way. But as I had clarified earlier, my personal stance is that it's actually not the people's behavior exactly. Rather, it is a behavior being generated by an idea, an ideology, what would you call it? A motivation that hijacks their mind. And to me, that's what possession is. It's a hijacking of your mind by an external factor. I don't mean to go into I don't mean to get lost in the sauce, but my personal belief is that ideas, ideologies, concepts, they are entities in their own. They're kind of like floating little creatures out in the air. And they hop from mind to mind in order to propagate themselves, because they can't propagate physically like we do. So the only way that they can reproduce is by instilling themselves into human psyche and human consciousness. That is very different from Frieren lore. In Frieren lore, these creatures who are meant to take advantage of human beings are physical beings in the physical realm. But I really enjoy the way that their personalities are portrayed, and their behaviors are portrayed, because they directly mirror human behaviors, which we see on a day-to-day basis. And bless me. Damn, that was a big one. Oh right. This reminded me of a clip that I had seen recently. I don't know. I'm gonna look it up. I don't know if I should show it, but basically, someone had shared an interview. I don't know if it was satirical or an actual genuine interview, but it was essentially an interview of some individuals who had committed some crimes against women, and they were asked about any regrets that they had, any thoughts that they had about their actions. And rather than empathize, much like our demon character here, they couldn't really figure out empathy in any way. Their response to their crime wasn't, I guess I shouldn't have done that to that individual. That individual may have had, a negative impact from my actions. Rather, their answer was, well, I guess I'm fine as long as no one else heard. I guess I'm fine as long as no one else got involved. and when asked about potential regrets that they might have had for their actions, or potential, yeah, I guess it was regrets. Their answer was, well, if my crime may have led to me getting a disease, that would be bad. Or if my crime would have led to me impregnating my victim, that would be bad. Everything regarding their crime revolved around them. Every thought that they had regarding their actions was solely about them, and they were incapable of empathizing with another human being who they were actively hurting. And that reminds me of this scenario because the demon in this case can't really figure out what the hell is wrong with, you know, I don't remember if they ate a human child or if they just, you know, disposed of them. But they couldn't figure out what was wrong with that. There was nothing wrong with that. They just kind of did what they wanted to do, and that was that. But they understood that other people sort of see things differently. So when it came time for them to be disposed of, for them to be taken care of as repayment for their crime, they essentially mimicked the actions of their victim in order to gain sympathy from the humans so that their consequences would be minimized.
Her own life. The demon poster in this video tries to claim that they do have empathy and that they're not just, you know, self-absorbed or egotistical. They have empathy for each other. And the example he gives to this being legit and not just his projection is a single scene, a single example that he wildly misinterprets. And this is the scene where Lugnier is being shot by Fern. He yells out to Linny, and Mr. Demon Poster interpreted this as him crying out for his ally because he's so sad that she's dead. No, Linny! And to give complete context behind the scene that he's referring to, Lugnir's original plan was to buy time and wait until Fern's mana was exhausted. But while he was on the defense, he was losing magic while she was perfectly fine. And because Linny was originally so overconfident that she could beat Stark no problem, he's getting more and more annoyed with her that she's not ready to help him yet. So yes, he was yelling out to Linny to help him, and when he turned, he realized she was dead. He turns back, is fucking looking dead in the face of Fern, quite frankly. And it doesn't matter, because he's out of magic. He doesn't have any left. That's why he loses. It doesn't matter that he looks away for a brief while. That's not what determined the end of the fight. That's also why he was so desperate when he called out to her. It was because he knew that he was going to fucking die.
After it's
Yeah. I mean, he extrapolated a brief scene into this whole motivation, this whole idea of what's really going on. But we don't really get that, right? And we've been told previously throughout the story that demons act out of self-interest. So why would this scene specifically be any different? If it truly was meant to be something different, if it really was meant to be an example of demons sort of developing empathy and care for another individual, wouldn't we get a little more dialogue and explanation in that instance? But instead it is just a quick scene.
already been established, they can sense when another demon dies. So this feels almost intentionally written, like the demon is crying out.
Oh my gosh.
Gaza is at a tipping point.
It is
The
at a
adults are
tipping
malnourished.
point.
Because their ally died.
Now, another big misinterpretation that he takes from this scene is this idea that mana detection is not skill-based. He seems to think that mana detection is strictly a demon thing, like they have a hive mind and can tell when another demon nearby has died based on.
Right. I didn't even pick up on that. Yeah, you would be able to understand when someone has passed and have a sixth sense for it simply by utilizing mana detection, which from what I understand and from what it seems, bless me, damn, from what we've gotten in Freerun lore, many humans are capable of learning mana detection. It's just a skill that you sort of develop and practice and refine over time. So it's not anything like specifically special to demons.
On their mana detection. So he thinks that Lugnir already knew that Linny was dead.
It's totally made up. Pure fiction. It's fiction.
Like I said, I don't know if this is purposeful misinterpretation to prove his own point, or if he genuinely just didn't understand what he watched. Mana detection is a skill that anyone who knows magic can learn to get much better at. Linny, in this case, has very impressive mana detection, which is all the more reason why she is always the one who is telling Lugnir she senses somebody's mana.
Yeah.
Because she is better at it than he is.
ドラートの魔力が探知できない。リュグナー様、魔法使いの反応が。
リーニエの魔力探知をかいくぐっただと。
She can sense mana from very long distances. He cannot. And later on, we get introduced to human characters who can also sense mana from very long distances. This is not a specific demon trait. Furthermore, when Linny first reveals to Lugnir that their other companion, Drat, is dead, he doesn't give a fuck! He opens up a book and starts reading, and he's like, I guess he's...
Yeah. Like, I can understand that maybe he would have favorites, right? Like, if he truly was humanly empathetic, perhaps, you know, he's more impacted by the loss of one ally versus the other. Perhaps he has a much closer tie to one of them and not the other. But the fact that he doesn't give a like, he just doesn't even blink. He takes that news and he just, you know, nonchalantly sits down, reads a book, and it's just like, that guy was an idiot anyway. Like, that really does not help the case that he has a strong sense of empathy in any way.
fucking dead. And this particularly bugs me because his wild misinterpretation of this scene he thinks is a great foundation for the rest of this video's argument.
That when that demon from earlier, the one who cried out at their ally dying, learns that Fern was concealing her mana, they call her a coward. They are visibly disgusted by it. Because again, demons are proud of their mana and think concealing it is a lowly thing to do. So the demon's morality might not align with ours. They're still totally okay with killing after all, but they must have some sense of morality to believe concealing mana to trick them is wrong. There is no reason they would react this way if they didn't. A truly immoral being would not think there is such a thing as an action that is wrong.
We don't know what morals are anymore. That's the issue. Morals are laws for behavior, which are meant to not only benefit ourselves, but the people around us. In order to propagate a less friction heavy and less radicalized society. And unfortunately, morals come to us from religion, because in the past, religious scholars and religious figures were the ones who really sat down and put a lot of thought into how can we get people to work together in ways that cause the least amount of friction and the most amount of collaboration. So unfortunately, because we've denied religion in our modern era, we don't understand morals anymore. For us, in the modern era, in the Western world, morals are just a code of conduct. And we don't really understand what the conduct that these codes are trying to foster and promote. So any code of conduct becomes morals, whether or not that the conduct being promoted through that code is completely self-serving and immoral, basically. Lugnir does not, or demons in general, do not look down upon people who conceal their mana because they think it's wrong. And even if that was the case, why is it wrong? Is it because it keeps people from working together? No, that's not the core reason why they look down upon people who conceal their mana. It's not because it keeps them from communicating with others. It's not because it keeps them from collaborating with others. It's simply because when you conceal your mana, they don't know your weakness. They don't know your strengths. They don't know the ways in which they can manipulate and take advantage of you. So those are not morals. They do not view mana concealment as immoral because they don't have morals. All they have is a self-serving ideology and mode of operations. And that is the basis for all of their actions.
So if I wear socks on...
It actually reminded me of a lot of people who defend some lesser cultures and their practices. In the Western world, a lot of people view unequal treatment very unfavorably, right? Anybody who treats others unequally is immediately a criminal. But whenever they look to foreign cultures, which not only treat people unfairly, unequal, but to rather promote that behavior and put that mindset at the core of their actions, they don't see that as a problem, because for them, it's just their version of morals. It's just their version of doing what's right. And that is very dangerous. And we actually see that example here with this individual who thinks that because demons just don't like you concealing your mana, then it is a bad thing to do. Just, because without completely understanding the motivations behind it and the reason behind it.
Would not think there is such a thing as an action that is wrong.
So if I wear socks on my hands and a demon corrects me to tell me I'm wearing the socks wrong, that instantly means he's a moral creature? You have a very loosey-goosey definition of morals, my dude. The fact that demons wouldn't like you concealing your mana and find it gross is because their entire society is based on a hierarchy of power. They only listen to demons that are stronger than them, because those stronger demons can kill them.
They're eating her! And then they're going to eat me! Oh my god!
Bro, I need to turn down this music. I think it might actually be too loud. It is too much. Oh, come on. The second that I say that, it changes tracks. There we go.
If anything, this behavior can be classified as more bestial than human. But if you break morality down to its barest of elements and claim that any sort of hierarchy or any sort of culture counts as some sort of system of morality, then you would have to apply it to animals and other creatures on Earth too. Animals also have systems of hierarchy, but the fact of the matter is we don't apply morality to animals, because morality and ethics are human-made systems meant to only be used to describe human societies. But if we were to apply...
No, that's actually right. I was gonna object to that, and I was gonna say, well, you can call animals immoral, but then I realized no one would actually do that. That sounds ridiculous. So yeah, I guess she's right.
Morality to creatures other than human, then how would we apply it? How would we go about this? Well, I think since morality is a human-made concept meant to apply to humans, we should only measure...
Alright, who the hell is playing the piano? This is getting ridiculous. Wait, is it my background music? Or is it her?
another creature's morality by how well it benefits humans, and only measure another creature's morality by how well...
I just realized it's both. My background music overlaid with her background music is creating a mess. So I'm gonna just turn off the background music. All right.
Well, it benefits humans. And last time I checked, demons do not benefit humans in any way. In fact, they do the opposite, so they would be classified as quite immoral.
It's the story most fantasy series take inspiration from, because it's The Lord of the Rings.
Now, I don't even know if it's worth going over the section where he talks about Lord of the Rings, because it is kind of a tangent just to be like, oh, and also this other thing, they're not evil either. And now I'm gonna apply this logic that I applied on Lord of the Rings, I'm gonna apply it on Frieren now.
Basically every evil, intelligent character in...
What is with modern thinkers nowadays? If you can even call them that. What the hell is this technique? I absolutely hate this. You see this everywhere too. Let me argue about this topic and then transfer that logic to an entirely different topic, unrelated to the first, and tell you exactly how they're the same. And then utilize that information to justify not only my first argument, but also the second. Like, what the hell? None of this makes any sense. What is wrong with you people?
In the novels, from Saruman to Grima Wormtongue, were not evil to begin with. They've simply been turned evil over time. The only creatures that are described as being totally 100% evil from birth are beings created by Morgoth, who we're told are evil because they don't have souls. Yet the orcs are never given this mercy. They're never given the chance to change. The characters never even think of the possibility of them being redeemable.
So yes.
So what? Like, literally, so what? What are we talking about?
change. The characters never even think of the possibility of them being redeemable.
So yes,
The issue is you assume that they even have the ability to think and reflect on whether or not they're evil. Perhaps they don't. Right? Perhaps there's something like flesh robots, right? Completely devoid of logic and the ability to reason and empathize, and they just work off of their... Jeez, I can't hear myself speak. They just work off of a built-in programming. Like, we don't know that. Like, and also, you're just randomly going to drop in and talk about an entirely different subject without actually going in depth, without actually taking the time to flesh out your thoughts. Like, what are we doing?
we're going from demon posting to orc posting. I do find it funny how he starts off this section by saying bluntly that Tolkien never said how he felt about this topic, and then proceeds to tell you how Tolkien felt about this topic. But if we are to assume that everything he says is true, he talks about how Tolkien wasn't sure if he should give the orcs souls or not, because he wanted orcs to represent a corruption. So supposedly the question became, if the orcs came from humans, then should they have human souls? And if they have human souls, should they have the potential to be good? Because according to the demon poster, a soul was a blank slate, and it was by default good. Now, this is not actually what Catholicism says, despite the fact that he seems to think that it's what Catholicism says. He's confusing Christianity with the blank slate theory, which are completely separate from one another. But look at this guy. You know he's never read a Bible. It's also worth noting that the book he is quoting, Morgoth's Ring, was not actually written by Tolkien. It was written by his son, who was using Tolkien's leftover notes and ideas and writings to kind of form a what could have been type.
Right. And that's a whole can of worms, because it's not the actual ideas and thoughts and logic from the original author. It is an amalgamation of basically the rationale of a second party who is utilizing the leftover ideas and unfinalized thoughts of the first party. So it's literally a game of telephone.
Type of lore book. And even his son says in the book that he didn't really understand all of the notes and that he's never gonna really fully capture what Tolkien had in mind for the lore. And even the quote that he pulls in order to prove his point, he explicitly states that they are irredeemable and implies that they can only be redeemed by God, presumably in the afterlife. Meaning that they'd have to be already fucking dead, bro.
Need better internet? Cox Internet has the fast, reliable speeds.
And then he literally ends this section by applying this concept to Frieren, despite it being a completely different story with completely different lore.
If demons are pure evil, they shouldn't really be sentient. And if the demons are sentient, they shouldn't be pure evil. However, demons in Frieren are shown to be clearly sentient.
This is kind of just clearly an example of some...
The issue is, what is sentience, and can you have it on a spectrum, right? Is it possible that they are sentient and they just don't have a higher level of sentience to understand how to behave in a way that is not completely self-serving, right? Like, there are so many thoughts, ideas, conversations, topics that this man just completely glosses over without a second thought. That's insane.
someone not being able to absorb any new concepts. It seems like he just applied his own personal philosophy onto Frieren and then got mad when it didn't match up with his own personal philosophy.
You can make a strong argument that they express empathy too.
A strong argument? He pulled up a scene that lasts less than 3 seconds. He thinks that that's a strong argument. Oh my god. The yelling out for Linny. Linny! He then gives himself big pats on the back by saying that Tolkien would totally agree with him that the demons should be redeemable in Frieren.
So
if Sonic were real, he'd agree with my morals.
if we handed Frieren to Tolkien and asked him to evaluate it, I strongly believe that he'd think the demons weren't worthy of mindlessly killing.
Yeah, I'm sure Tolkien.
What is wrong with people nowadays? Why are people retarded? Worst of all, why are people retarded and feel justified for it? What is this, like, self-centered, self-righteous retardation?
Tolkien would totally agree with you and love you and get along with you really well. I'm sure he'd read your book from high school and be like, wow, this is way better than anything I've ever written. You're so...
Yeah, he would definitely. He would massage your little toesies. He would make you a tea. He would love you forever. He'd take you out on a date to Culver's. Because I know he loves that fast food. He would do everything. He would marry you. Definitely.
So talented and smart.
They should have a soul. They should have a soul.
Should?
Whoa.
What is this should?
Did he just say they should have a soul? Hold on a second. Pause the video. Should have a soul. They do have souls. Aura literally weighs her soul and Frieren's soul on the scales. Does he not?
He's lost in the freaking sauce. He keeps jumping from topic to topic. He doesn't understand what he's talking about anymore. And then on top of that, like, what is this should? Like, it's not even about the logic of his argument. It's not even about the lore of the story, the understanding what someone has to put down on paper for you. It's all him. It's all about what he wants and what he needs. And that's it. What is this should? Like, according to who? You? Like, what is happening?
No? That they have souls in the Frieren universe?
Even removing the concept of souls, religion, and definitive morality given by God entirely, which is pretty easy to do because Frieren is a bit more agnostic.
Oh my god, he does not know. I thought that's where he was going with this. I thought he only mentioned Lord of the Rings to bring up the concept of souls and then declare because the demons have souls in the Frieren universe, they must be good souls. But somehow he watched and read all of Frieren, but didn't know the demons had souls. Now, this is a absurd amount of information to get wrong about a series, I gotta say. Especially if you're writing a video essay about it. Guys, audience, you guys.
He didn't watch the show. He didn't read the manga. He read a twit launder about the grievances with the show. He read a Reddit thread from multiple people about what's wrong with the story from multiple points of view, and then he took all of these disconnected viewpoints, all of these disconnected arguments, and mashed them into one video.
is in the comment section. If you are ever writing a video essay about the highest rated anime of all time, would you get this much information wrong? It's not even like what I'm referring to as some hidden scene or some widely debated information in Frieren Universe. It's one of the most well-known scenes in the entire series, is where Aura weighs her soul on the scales of obedience. And somehow he went on this whole tangent talking about souls without even mentioning demonic souls in Frieren. Now, I can understand him maybe getting confused about mana detection. I can maybe understand him getting confused about the Linne scene, but there's no way you can look at a screen.
AAA Auto Insurance has been ranked #1 for auto insurance customer satisfaction in the Southwest.
Freaking AAA.
Go ahead.
US freaking
volume.
USPS. Get the hell out of my screen. What the hell is this? Damn. Leave me alone, guys.
Very clearly and visually see a soul and somehow miss it. And the fact that demons do have souls in Frieren doesn't even prove his point. Sure, some people might interpret souls as being the consciousness, but a lot of people also interpret the souls as just being a life force. And when
Right. Depending on what lore we're talking about, yes, it could be literally the consciousness, the embodiment of the life experience, the memories, the motivations, and the life force, right? The energy that drives forward the physical human being in order to live, or it could only just be that life energy, the battery of, if you could call it that powers the human being.
When we do see Aura's soul compared to Frieren's, we can see that it's very visually different. Because it shows that they are created completely different from the ground up. Even their souls are evil. Sure, maybe Tolkien didn't have this concept of an evil soul, but that doesn't mean that Frieren doesn't have this concept. It's almost like they tried to do something different.
Oh my god!
Orcs and demons are sentient, intelligent, and morally capable beings. They already have their own system of morality. There's no reason they couldn't adopt another.
There is a reason, actually. It's explicitly stated in the show.
It's explicitly stated in their actions. What is this man on? Of course, they wouldn't adopt a new set of morals, a new moral code, because they work in a manner that is self-serving. They don't care about anyone but their own self-interest. So why would they? That doesn't make any sense.
Because they biologically cannot do it. That's like saying, oh, well, lions already eat meat, so there's no reason why they wouldn't be able to eat tofu.
And I've seen people argue that morality shouldn't even be applied to the demons at all because of this. The specific line I've seen used being, they're like a house cat killing mice. But I'd just like to remind you, unlike a house cat or a tiger or a bear or whatever, demons are intelligent enough to understand how their actions affect people. And they already have an understanding of morality. They just don't understand that killing...
Bro. He's making an argument against himself. If they can truly, fully, literally understand how their actions affect other human beings, wouldn't that be a bad thing? Wouldn't that actually fully make them evil? What is this man on? What is he smoking?
And they already have an understanding of morality. They just don't understand that killing people is wrong.
Essentially, his plan is that we should train them like Pokemon. It's funny how he repeats that they're intelligent multiple times throughout his video essay, and then when it's convenient for him, he suggests that they're a bunch of savages who don't know any better, and that we, the intelligent superior species, must teach them our ways. Well, since you inadvertently complimented the human race, I'll play along with with your little hypothetical. So let's say the plan is to artificially instill our morals into the demons. They might not be able to feel empathy, but they can still understand it enough to use it against us, and maybe out of fear we can get them to play by our rules. Well, given that most demons are not interested in learning our rules or our way of life, we'll probably have to do this by force. So with that in mind, we should start by at least just capturing them with Pokeballs. And since it's already well established that they are very ego-oriented creatures, we'll probably have to break their will a little bit. Maybe with some forced labor. Oh, and since they live much longer than humans, this will have to go on for maybe a couple hundred or 1,000 years before they actually have their will broken, since, you know, they experience time differently than humans do. And surely after thousands and thousands of years of enslaving demons to do our hard labor for us, soon they'll see things our way.
All the pieces are coming together.
Okay, no, but seriously, we already know that demons are by default much stronger than humans, and that they would not willingly go along with this plan, which means that a lot of humans would die in the process of trying to convert them. And who knows how many thousands of years it would take to actually successfully convert one. Meanwhile, there are new demons being born by unknown forces. And how are you going to keep on accounting for all these new demons that are brought into the world? So yeah, Frieren is right in her assessment that the human species would probably go extinct before being able to successfully convert a demon, even if artificially. Which means that the ethical thing to do is to kill them, because it will result in less loss of human life. Now we get into the section of the video where he starts talking about spoilers. I'm gonna do my best to talk about this section of the video without giving away any pivotal spoilers that would ruin your experience watching or reading. So one of the most atrocious things that he does in this video essay is he pulls up a panel from a demon saying that they're sad that they lost their friends. And he presents it that way. He's like, oh, look at this panel of a demon saying that they're sad that they lost their friends. That's more proof of empathy. Literally, the next page, she says that she's lying. And the person that she came to talk to, she says her actual intentions are to kill them. So this is very deceptive. And at this point, I'm losing all faith that he's making these mistakes by accident. You'd have to be completely illiterate to have not read the page that comes afterwards.
Maybe he is. You think this man can read?
Part of the arc that he's talking about also involves a partnership with a demon, and he purposefully mistranslates the term partner in crime to being best friend. This is obviously a very emotionally manipulative way to approach your video essay. This guy is like a poster child for the unreliable narrator. There's a scene later down the line where this demon goes to see his supposed best friend, according to the demon poster, because he misses him. But in actuality, he threatens to kill him. No, I'm not kidding. He threatens to kill his supposed best friend. It's almost like they're not best friends at all, huh?
Reality can be whatever I want.
He also mentions later down the line that Frieren herself is very much like the demons because she is biologically incapable of feeling affection towards other people as an elf.
He didn't read it. He did not read Frieren. Did not read it. He did not watch it. He didn't even listen to it. That boy has no idea what he's talking about. He really did just take a Frieren hate thread from Reddit and take a bunch of disjointed points from that hate thread and turn it into a video essay. He has no idea what he's talking about. Now Frieren can't feel affection for human beings. What? Isn't that what the whole show is about? That not only has she developed affection for human beings, but is actively going through the process of understanding how that affects her as a living being and how that affects her motivations. Bro. He's confused with the concept that elves lack physical interest, physical affection. Bro.
And he suggests, since she is working towards going against her biology, that she is living proof that you can go against your biology, and therefore demons can too. But once again, he's just completely misinterpreting the lore. Frieren never says that elves are incapable of emotional attachment. What she actually says is that romantic interest is just lower for elves than it is for humans and other creatures. That they just have less urgency when it comes to reproducing. And it's supposed to explain why the elves are slowly going extinct. Throughout the entire manga series, even the beginning, we see that she clearly has emotions and attachments to people.
Like, if we take a character like Ubel, someone shown in the story to be fine with killing pretty much anyone, who has killed a lot and doesn't feel bad about it, and we compared her to a demon.
The fact that he calls her Ubel? No. Ubel, bro? Ubel. What is an Ubel?
Who did pretty much all of the same stuff she did? Can you think of any reason given by the story why Ubel would deserve mercy and be allowed to live?
The Planet Fitness Black Card. Access any location, bring a friend anytime, and
I don't even fitness. I don't even fitness.
I guess it's because he
much all of the same stuff and doesn't feel bad about it, and we compared her to a demon who did pretty much all of the same stuff she did. Can you think of any reason given by the story why Ubel would deserve mercy and be allowed to live, and the demon would not?
I guess it's because he's approaching this entire video believing that they are like any other fantasy race, like a dwarf or an elf, even though they are explicitly shown to be very different from all the other fantasy races. But he's basically taking this logic on another tangent where he's like, well, sometimes humans also do bad things. What makes humans different from demons, huh? You see, you spend this entire video comparing demons to being equivalent.
Yeah. He's just a modern intellectual. The fact that he takes completely unrelated topics and tries to justify his arguments in one topic with another completely unrelated topic, which he also doesn't understand. The fact that his morals are, but if he did something bad, then why doesn't that mean that someone else can also do something bad and it's fine? He's a modern intellectual.
Equivalent to humans. And it doesn't even occur to you that the whole point is that humans have the potential to act like demons. That is the crux of the concept of demons in the first place, is that they represent all of the worst parts of humanity. They represent all of the worst things that we can become. That in real life, people can be deceptive, people can be egotistical, people can act like what we think of when we think of demons. And what makes humanity moral and what makes us so special is that we strive to go against this impulsive and destructive behavior. Frieren is encouraging us to fight our inner demons. This is not unique to Frieren, by the way. This is kind of the whole point of the Bible as well. Demons are supposed to be temptations, right? To act in a way that is destructive, but benefits you or benefits your ego, even if it's not benefiting everyone else. And the Bible is encouraging you to be selfless. Freeman, of course, takes this to a literal sense, but sometimes people enjoy to see a literal representation of fighting evil. As much as you don't like how the Lord of the Rings movies portrays all these orcs getting absolutely dunked on by the human armies, it doesn't matter because people loved those movies. People loved watching orcs getting fucked up because orcs are representing the worst parts of humanity, the parts that we do not want to see ourselves become. That's why it inspires us, is because we're seeing the destruction of something that we don't.
And that's the troublesome part. That's the most troubling part about this whole thing. The people who justify the evil characters, the people who justify the characters who are completely self-interested, and try to empathize with them, try to humanize them, is the fact that they are not just looking for redeemable qualities within evil characters. The real issue is the fact that they are trying to humanize inhumane behavior. They're trying to normalize inhumane actions and ideologies. Like, that's like looking at a literal what the hell do you call them? I don't remember what the correct word is for somebody who murders a lot of people, right? But it's like looking to a murderer and saying, but he's a nice guy. Like, what are we doing?
Want to be. So when you point out, oh well, Ubel is kinda evil too, what makes her different from a demon? You're kinda like missing the whole point. It's not just the demons that are evil in the series. There are evil humans too. Like, is the assumption that Ubel is going to be redeemed at some point and that she's going to be a good guy later down the line? Because I personally don't think that's what's going to happen, considering her name literally means bad. But I don't know, maybe I'm just gonna be proven wrong, huh? Who's to say, but maybe you shouldn't make that assumption. But to play along with his silly argument, the reason why you would kill a demon if you saw it on the street and not kill Ubel if you saw her on the street is the same reason why you would kill a serial killer and not just some random civilian. Because you...
Yes. Yes. If you see a random civilian, right, whether or not they have committed a crime, your first action should not be murder, right? Your first instinct should be, well, if they have committed a crime, at the very least, stop them and allow them to get a fair judgment. And that is because of the fact that, well, they're human and they have free will, and they do technically have the ability to change. So you would like them to receive punishment first for their crimes, so that, you know, hopefully, maybe they can figure out what it is that they did wrong, and then they can change. But if you encounter a literal man-eating tiger on the street, you really cannot risk trying to capture them. That is essentially what we're looking at when it comes to the demons within the Freeran world. They're man-eating tigers. You can't take the liberty of trying to figure out how to capture them without completely, you know, annihilating yourself and the people around you. You kind of just have to go and get them taken care of. You need to eliminate them as swiftly and cleanly as you possibly can.
You know for sure that the serial killer is evil. Well, as a citizen picked out at random you don't know. Demons, you know for sure, are evil. You know that they will always try to deceive you to convince you otherwise. But humans, you don't know if they're trying to deceive you or if they're being genuine. So it's a little bit more gray there.
But the idea of subversion is that it should add an interesting element to explore, or take some idea and build on it in a way you weren't expecting. Yet Frierin's demons are doing the exact opposite. They are stripping away interesting ideas to revert them back to their simpler form.
At Cox, your internet and mobile price won't change for 5 years. From
Stop.
5 Halloweens to 5...
You know what? Get muted, idiot. This is pissing me off. I have my, you know what? I'm just gonna turn it off for this. I have my, my mic, set to allow me to hear myself speak so that I know my microphone is working and not being a total pain in the butt. But the issue is when I can hear myself speak, I can't think. So I'm gonna turn that off. Oh, frick. Oh, frick. Here we go. Microphone. Monitor and output. How about monitor off? There we go. Now I can actually hear myself think. So we're gonna close that. And now I can actually listen to the video at full volume without hearing myself speak. And oh, what am I? Okay, I was like, what the hell is my keyboard moving? There we go.
They are stripping away interesting ideas to revert them back to their simpler form.
Okay, so what he is describing here is called return to form. And all of the interesting elements that Frieren added, you just disregarded or didn't understand.
The issue is that he expects stories to be subversions and jeez, I always have words in my brain and I don't remember what the hell the words are. He expects subversion. He wants that modern slop writing where it's just like, oh, you thought that the good guys were the good guys, but actually they're the bad guys, and you thought the bad guys were the bad guys, but actually they're the good guys. That's what he wants. But that unfortunately is bad writing, like because it's not writing for the sake of logic, reason, and exploration of ideas. It's just subversion. It's just writing for the sake of doing the opposite of what the audience is expecting. Yes, subverting of expectations. That's what he wants. And, well, not everything has to subvert your expectations. Why would it?
I think that the demon poster just genuinely has difficulty accepting new concepts.
Yeah.
He seems to be very stuck in his own ways, applying his own philosophy and his own fantasy rules onto Frieren when it's not playing by your rules, it's playing by Yamada's rules. And this is not coming from someone who just blindly defends Frieren. I have my own critiques to throw at the series, but the problem isn't demons, as though that would fix the series. As though it would instantly become a better series if it became exactly like all these other anime series that do the redeemed villain or demons are misunderstood plotline. No, Frieren did so well because people were craving a return to form type of fantasy story. And I feel like it's worth pointing out that his argument throughout this video isn't even that Yamada is a bad writer exactly, because he's arguing that nobody can write this concept right. He's arguing that it is a concept no one should try to write, and that it could never possibly make sense to make an entire evil race. Why? Because he doesn't understand it and he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it, so don't write it.
I don't like it.
Wow, great argument. awesome. And I think Frieren does touch upon a very relatable topic that not a lot of good versus evil stories actually do touch upon. Human compassion and empathy being taken advantage of. Because we see many of the humans throughout the story trying to be the better person, trying to do the right thing, and being taken advantage of by demons. Because in reality, humans do desperately want to be good people. They want to do moral and right things that will benefit all of the world. But we very often argue with each other on what is the right thing to do, what is a proper balance of compassion and logic.
A lot of especially extreme ideologies already promote the eradication of groups you consider morally lesser than you outside of fiction. So if you believe in one of those ideologies, well, you'd want to agree that the characters in Frieren or Starship Troopers should do just that.
And there it fucking is, folks. You're a Nazi. Oh, if you want demons to die, then that must mean you want some other human race to die. Why is it that when I hate alien bugs, the implication must be that I'm a racist and not that I just don't like small bugs? Oh, why don't you like this bug that farts plasma? Well, I don't like bees, so you can put two and two together here. I do find it incredibly funny that this guy opened up his video by saying that he made this video out of spite towards Twitter, and then closes this video saying that he doesn't care about Twitter or what they say. Well, at time of recording this, he has currently privated his Twitter account and moved to Blue Sky.
Nice.
I think we all know what that means.
Am I so out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong.
But I did want to, of course, share my thoughts on this video and explain why this is a very silly position to take when it comes to Frieren. I understand, like, bringing up some criticisms here and there in the Frieren series, but it seems like all of his criticisms are just trying to say you can't make evil races. Essentially trying to prove his philosophy first and foremost, rather than actually critiquing the material first and foremost. But anyway, this video has gone on long enough, so thank you guys for watching my little response here. Let me know what you think about demon posting down below in the comment section. Like the video if you did like this response. Subscribe to see more videos from me. I'm a pretty cool person. I'll even give you 15% off Burning Star comics when you use code DANFAN. Yes, that's right. Go check out some indie comics from some great creators and artists out there. Use code DANFAN, get 15% off just in time for the holiday season. I'll see you next time, guys. Bye!
Program restart.
And if you are a warm body watching this, please do like and subscribe. I left a like. I don't. What the frick? I'm not subscribed. I'm subscribed now. So go subscribe and use that code from a year ago, which likely is not functional anymore. Has she made any other videos recently? Let's take a look. It seems like, yes, she is still very active. 8 days ago, 2 weeks ago, 1 month ago, 2 months ago. She's not she doesn't upload super frequently, but she does upload regularly. Now, for the next video, we have yet more justifications for inferior cultures. Not only are the demons justified in their completely arbitrary, made-up morals, which are only self-serving, but the same logic is being applied to human cultures, which very negatively affect the people who live within those cultures.
Hi folks, before I start, we have a live event on the 11th of...
Oh, Right, this is just the most horrifying story by Akkad Daily. And am I subscribed to Akkad? Yes, I am. Good. I am, although gonna leave a like.
Of April in Swindon.
Let's get into it.
I'll leave a link in the description. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll be having lots of drinks and relaxing. And I know what I'm about to start talking about, so it's just we're going to have fun, unlike the things I'm about to discuss. Anyway, link in the description. So you may have seen the story of a Spanish woman called Noela Castillo Ramos, who has just had, like, her story is just the worst story, and it's hard to believe that this is real. Genuinely hard to believe that this was real. I just don't know exactly what to say about it, because, I mean, it is such an evil future that we're creating. And I don't want to be alarmist, right? I don't want to be that kind of person who's like...
I'm Adam Fisher, and I'm Tyler Fish, and we're the co-founders of Sun Home Saunas.
They literally want you raped and murdered, right? They literally want you raped and the state will kill you. But that's actually what has happened in this case, as far as I can tell. So she had a difficult upbringing, as I am led to believe, and she was put in a supervised care centre, a state institution, and in there, now I can't actually validate these reports. I've been looking around. I can't actually find any confirmation about this, but the allegation is that she was raped several times and gang raped by North African minors when she was in this state care institution. Now, again, I can't be sure of that because I can only find internet posts about it, but it's the sort of thing I can imagine that the powers that be in the media class don't actually want to advertise. So I don't know who gang raped her, but that is a kind of modus operandi for certain communities. Anyway, we'll go through this Sky News article because it's harrowing. This is so harrowing. So she was gang raped in 2022 by her ex-boyfriend and another time by three. She was raped by her ex-boyfriend, then gang raped by 3 boys in 2022, and then she tried to kill herself. And her dad saw her trying to kill herself. She turned herself into a paraplegic. She didn't die, but she had obviously broken her back or something and then couldn't walk. And so she had jumped from the 5th floor window of an apartment building in a cocaine-fueled attempt to end her own life in 2022 after previously overdosing on medication. The fall left her a paraplegic, and she was suffering severe chronic incapacitating pain with no possibility of improvement. So that's awful. I mean, that is just so bad. It's just so bad. She was euthanized today. She was euthanized a few hours ago, so she's now passed on. And she had a legal battle with her own father over this, in which she said that she didn't respect him for not respecting her wishes. So how awful that that's been the case. She says, "I want to go now in peace and stop suffering, period." Noela's living in a Barcelona care home. She's been very clear about her wish to die from the beginning. "None of my family is in favour of euthanasia, but what about all the pain I've suffered during these years? The happiness of the father, mother or sister cannot be more important than the life of a daughter." Well, I mean, what a horrible, horrible outcome for anyone involved in this. She said she always felt alone, saw my world as very dark, even before requesting euthanasia. Sleeping is very difficult, she's constantly in pain, like, just awful. Just awful. Apparently, none of the people who raped her have been charged. Again, if I'm wrong on any of these details, let me know.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I really hope that information is incorrect. We have seen a lot of cases like this in Europe, some in the US, where people just commit really heinous crimes and then see no consequences for it.
No. A lot of this is coming from Spanish translated news articles and things that are being said on the internet. But where I'm just relying on things being said on the internet, I am going to make sure I'm very clear to let you know. Because, like I said, I can't find any details on the actual rapists. And it's only through hearsay on social media that I have any information about them at all, theoretically. Anyway, her mother, of course, doesn't want her to kill herself. None of them want to kill herself. She says she wants to die looking pretty. I want to die beautiful. She's going to wear her prettiest dress and put on some makeup. And while she invited her family to say goodbye, she wants to be alone in her bedroom at the care facility at the moment of her death. I mean, that's terrible. She's been in psychiatric treatment since she was 13. Her parents separated. So she had other mental disorders, but obsessive compulsive disorder and borderline personality disorder. And it was in this care home that she was raped. And her father saw her trying to kill herself. My father saw me fall and couldn't do anything, but after everything he's done, I don't feel sorry for him anymore. He hasn't respected my decision and never will. Just awful. So she had requested euthanasia. Her father had engaged in a legal battle to prevent it, but eventually the court rejected his argument, ruling that there had been no violation of fundamental rights. I mean, it seems there had been a violation of a bunch of rights getting to this point.
Yeah, getting to this point, that's straight up insane. But also, what the hell are we doing? What are we doing in the modern world where we're making we are legalizing euthanasia? That's insane. That's genuinely insane. I personally feel like the cultures who are enabling the cultures that are promoting and allowing this, self-ending are truly inferior cultures. I don't understand how it is that they justify these actions.
Point, but what are you going to do? Anyway, this was all overturned by courts that sided in her favour, and so she was euthanized. Spain has become the 4th country to legalise euthanasia, and I can't say I particularly agree with it. Don't get me wrong. I can see the argument for if someone is dying of terminal cancer, and I have seen people die of terminal cancer, and it's very painful. I can see an argument then, right? I can definitely see an argument then, and I'm sure that this woman was living in an absolute hell because of the things that had been done to her. But it's just, you'll see what I mean in a second. Anyway, the mum was just, please don't. What can you do? What can you do? And the reason I find this so sinister is not only did the state bring the migrants in and then house them with her, leaving her vulnerable to them, but also you've got the president here denouncing the president of Abagodos, Cristianos, has denounced the hospital in charge of her euthanasia, which pressured her family not to hold the procedure because her organs are already assigned to other patients.
Wow.
We're sorry that you got raped while in state care, you tried to kill yourself, made yourself paraplegic, and now you're going to be killed by the state, but your organs have been assigned to other patients, so we need you to die. I mean, this is just horrible. Like, everything about this is just horrible.
Yeah.
I hate utilitarianism, right? Utilitarianism creates a demented world of immorality. I mean, everything that has happened here is just... These are all...
And the reason why utilitarianism would create such a dysfunctional society is simply the fact that it's all about utility, right? How can we make use of things? How can we make use of people? So it's not really... It doesn't really take into consideration the value of a human life. It's really just what sort of value can you offer other people, or what sort of value can you offer the system.
Policy. I mean, everything that has happened here is just... These are all never events, right? These things should never be happening, and yet they are happening. Here's Nayib Bukele's opinion on this. This is the ultimate goal of human rights organisations. See the entire case from the beginning to end they intend. Each and every one of the steps is a part of the protection of human rights, achieved through their struggles and victories. We will never listen to them no matter how much they attack us. They have nothing to come and tell us. Rather, we should be the ones denouncing you for what you do to women like Noelia. The world urgently needs to free itself from these organisations, which are nothing more than the law firms of criminals who literally prefer to kill the victims than protect them. And again, the perpetrators are still at large in Spain as we speak. The people who did this to her are not in jail. They were brought in by the Spanish state. When they do this, the Spanish state is like, well, the best we can do is kill you and harvest your organs. And as Bukele points out, this is all for the protection of human rights. Sorry, I think something demented and monstrous has happened instead, and I don't think it's going to stop. I think this is going to keep carrying on. I mean, a very similar thing happened in the Netherlands, where a Dutch girl in 2019 was raped. She had mental problems after this, and so she was euthanized by the Dutch state. Now, I don't know if her organs were harvested or anything, so I guess, who knows. But the point is, this is not a unique case, and it's entirely likely, given the sheer rate of sexual immorality that takes place in our countries now, that this will happen again. There's no reason to think it won't. I mean, this is like... This seems to be the plan, right? Here's a Moroccan man who was jailed for raping a 15-year-old in his care. He was given 6 years in prison, barred for working with minors for a decade, but won't be deported. So the plan is to keep these rapists, migrant rapists, in the country. Doesn't matter that they've raped. Oh, we'll send them to prison for 6 years. This girl might follow the other girl and be like, yeah, no, I think I'd rather die, actually. I mean, how is this not the sacrifice of children on the altar of multiculturalism? Quite literally. And then to harvest the organs.
And some might argue that no, this is not the sacrifice of children, because the way that you do a sacrifice is you take the children and you put them on an altar, and you invoke another worldly entity, and then you start a bonfire, and then you sacrifice the children, right? But the issue is much like my belief in demonic entities, which are not necessarily physical, but do manifest in physical form. My belief is that all things are sort of, how can I explain it? It's, to me, everything in reality is kind of like the Schrodinger's cat experiment. Everything both is and is not always. So for me, a demon isn't literally physically there, but at the same time it is. A sacrifice isn't necessarily literally a physical sacrifice, and sometimes it is, or at the same time it is, right? Everything both is and is not, and the way that sacrifice much more abstractly, much more much more abstractly, and as a concept, the way that sacrifice functions is you take something of value to you, and you essentially use it as a bargaining chip for something else. That is the essential core of what a sacrifice is. When you sacrifice your younger years for an education, for example, right? You don't literally take your younger years in like a little time capsule and then put it up on an altar and burn it in order to get an education. No, like what you actually do is you set out to get an education. That takes time. And what are your younger years but the time? So you sacrifice that time, you use it as a bargaining chip in order to gain something out of it, or gain something of value. And what you're getting in return is the education. And I do believe that child sacrifice is and was a real phenomenon. I just don't think that it is literally what we have thought it to be. Child sacrifice isn't just taking a child, putting them up on an altar, and starting a fire. And child sacrifice is still around. What child sacrifice actually is, as a concept, is using your child as a bargaining chip. Using their future, disposing of their future to gain something of value now. And we see that in various different forms throughout our modern society. Children are sacrificed whenever we are not making choices that positively impact their future and actually actively harm their future, but give us something useful in the meantime. So, for example, a modern example of child sacrifice would be not sending your child to school so that they can help you out in your farm, right? Let's say you're a farmer, you have 3 kids, you need someone to help you out with all the work, and so you sacrifice your children's future and their education for that physical labor that you need now. And collectively, as a society, we have been practicing child sacrifice for many decades now. Many people actively, that example that I just gave previously was an example of sacrificing the child's future. But we actively, as a society, have been sacrificing children as a whole. Many people do not have children, and that is because it brings them the time, the money, and the stability that they need today. And that is actually a really big reason why children were sacrificed in the past, right? You sacrifice your child, and what you gain is a better crop tomorrow. What you gain is better weather tomorrow. What you gain is riches. So, and that's pretty much what we're doing. We're giving ourselves more time, giving ourselves more economic stability by not having those children. And in many cases, it's not even the act of sacrificing the potentiality of a child. Sometimes it literally is a child. an unborn child who is used as a sacrifice in order to better your position today. And yesterday I heard of an insane story from 2014. Let's see if I can look it up real quick. All right, so I heard about the story from the UK, 2014. Turned out that a lot of children who had been aborted were being used as fuel for heating and electricity in the UK health system. Let's read this quick Gemini overview. In March 2014, an investigation by Channel 4's Dispatches program revealed that several National Health Service (NHS) trusts in the United Kingdom had been incinerating the remains of aborted and miscarried babies as clinical waste. Some of these remains were used in waste-to-energy incinerators to heat hospitals. Waste-to-energy would essentially be an incinerator that generates power. You burn things in it, it turns a motor, and it creates electricity for the facility. The scale was over a 2-year period. At least 15,500 fetal remains were incinerated by 27 NHS trusts. That's a lot of ink babies. Methods: 10 NHS trusts admitted to burning fetal remains along with other clinical waste, while 2 trusts used waste-to-energy plants to generate power for hospital heating. Specific examples: Adam Brooks. We'll glass over that. Misleading parents. Many parents were not informed. I can imagine. Yeah. And we already got the gist of the story. Now, what's funny, not literally funny, like haha, what's interesting about this story is the fact that this could actually also be an example of ancient human sacrifice. We hear stories of people incinerating the remains of children for the betterment of the crop yield for their society. And the funny thing is that it turns out you actually can use ashes as a fertilizer. And here we go. Wood ash is a good free fertilizer and soil amendment for acidic soils. What about... How can I word this? I don't know the correct wording. There we go. I figured out the right wording. So, can you use animal product ashes as fertilizer? Yes, specific types of animal product ashes, such as poultry, litter, or bone ash, can be used as fertilizer, but they must be applied carefully. These ashes are rich in phosphorus, calcium, and potassium, serving as an effective soil amendment to raise pH and add nutrients, particularly for fruiting plants. So I'm not gonna go that deep into the research on this topic because I don't want to basically look into a topic that might be troublesome, but it is technically possible that the sacrifice of children could have literally yielded better crops through the use of their ashes as fertilizer. And funny enough, we actually did see something very similar in the UK, where the sacrifice of children was utilized in order to power our society. And it's just kind of an example of the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Of multiculturalism, quite literally. And then to harvest the organs afterwards, like, you fucking ghouls.
And the harvesting of the organs is another example of how these sacrifices are utilized in order to power our society, in order to benefit our society. Yeah.
This is the most macabre thing I've ever read. Honestly, I was genuinely like, this can't be real. But here we are. And then you've got, of course, the state protect.
And these societies that are allowing the self exiting, if you can call it that, the self isekai of people. Many of these societies are utilizing these sacrifices for organ harvesting. So it's not just the children. Everyone's getting sacrificed.
Protecting grooming guys.
At what altar? That's a question for another day.
I mean, that happens a lot in Britain, obviously. We've had that plenty. But you've had another one in Germany. A Muslim grooming gang that committed a series of rapes at a youth centre in Germany was not reported to the authorities because the social services coordinator didn't want to stigmatise Muslims. Why would they have stigmatised Muslims? At least you're not putting orphan children in the care of paedophiles now. That stopped in 2021, if I recall correctly. So thank God, or was it 2018? So thank God you're not doing that. You're just covering up for foreign rapists who run rape gangs. Just mad. And so it's hard to disagree with Nayib Bukele saying, look, this is the plan for human rights. Protect the human rights of a series of rapists, and you are the sacrifice. You are the person. You are the victim. You are the altar upon which these things are conducted. And I just can't believe that this is where we are. I just can't get over it. Anyway, so obviously the Spanish, being not mental, want mass deportations of illegal immigrants, right? Because, as you see, in 1991, Spain's foreign-born population was under 1%, but it's 20% as of last year. 20%, 1 in 5 people in Spain, are now going to be, well, Africans. And it's just, even the Socialist Party supporters want mass deportations. Because why wouldn't you? So what's the Spanish government doing instead? Well, they're thinking, well, my GDP, my healthcare, we're going to just legalise them. We're just going to give them amnesty and citizenship. So instead of deporting them, we're going to make nearly 1.6 million migrants legal. This is legal. They're just going to be here legally. Just all these illegals, we just give them citizenship. And then we don't have an illegal immigrant problem. And despite that per capita, they have not sent their best, right? They're not sending people who are deeply law-abiding in their own personal philosophy. And you know this because they broke into your country illegally and the government decided to protect them. Anyway, folks, like I said, live event, which is not going to be depressing like this segment. Link in the description on the 11th of April. It is going to be good fun. Because we need something to take our mind off this profound evil that we live in this world. It's just, again, it's profound. I just can't get over the series of failures and immorality that has led to this point. I just can't get over it. But anyway, this is apparently the world we live in. Stay safe. Make sure you take care of the people around you. The most important thing you can do with your day is tell those people closest to you that you love them. Okay? Literally go to your mum, go to your sister, go to your daughters, go to your sons, go to your wife, and just tell them, look, I really love you and I'm really glad you're in my life. Just that's the best thing you can do with your day.
I'm Adam Fisher. And I'm Tyler Fish, and we're the co-founders of Sun Home Saunas. We saw the market was already flooded with
a fish and a fisher. Wow. Amazing. Alright, so now what the fuck? Star Fox gonna be in Mario Galaxy? I mean, it kind of makes sense. Okay, how much time do I have? Oof. Running low on time. We need a quick video. So, what do we got? We got nothing. Alright, so nothing there. We got a Nux video that's 2 hours. Amazing. Nope. Not today. Maybe Leaflet. I was about to sneeze so hard and I couldn't. Damn. Ugh. Okay. I'm actually not even going to watch another video. I'm going to go on a bit of a rant.
Fraternal societies and mutual aid. Why social...
I watched this last night. And if I remember correctly, if this is the same video, Leaflet was going on a bit of a rant. Maybe I can get back to the point that I remember.
So it's not even like, well, you know, I really like this society. Like, what? How much does it cost? And they're like, oh, you don't get to pick doing this, and then you go and you get a job and you pay back to society.
At a 70-30 split, while provide pales in comparison to even...
Was this the right video?
This qualifies you for a state benefit that would provide you with value that is equivalent to if you were making $15 an hour. But you would no longer qualify if you made any more money. So your company offers you an opportunity for promotion to shift leader for $13 an hour. This would theoretically place you in a position where accepting this promotion
I'm not sure this was the right video.
Actually results in a net loss for you.
Reliant on? Like, yeah, you better fucking vote for me or I'm taking it away.
Go ahead. Crank the volume. We got you. USPS has increased daily...
Shut the fuck up.
All of this shit, abort your babies, do all of that shit. Just keep doing it. Keep doing it, slave.
That we could do more to help the poor and provide...
You don't want those happy babies. They fucking suck shit themselves everywhere. Are you kidding me?
Themselves, they don't have the same platform.
Providing medical care for too little of a...
I don't think this was the video I was thinking about.
Form. And so I consider this to be a moral op.
And for you, Tilly, it is worth thinking.
Kind of tactic. And they know that there's no consequence to doing it. So like from their point of view, right, where they're fighting a great, you know, this is what I said again, right? Like get into their mindset. Like don't think about yourself and like how you logically think about things. Think about them, right? And if you think about them, they really do consider that they do consider that this is a moral imperative for them to destroy us at any cost. They believe it's a great moral like imperative to destroy us at any cost, regardless. They have to destroy him by any means. Like Destiny will back it up and make it hard for Andrew to actually win. Even in battle, truth doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if truth is on your side, because it doesn't mean that you win. And this is like, again, the warning I keep saying to everybody on our side for because you're too proud. Like you have to use tactics to sway people to your side. You have to use people that are willing to utilize of what is good for me is good, what is bad for my what is good for me is good, what is good for my enemies is bad. So we'll do everything, and you know, maybe the truth will prevail this time. But I'm not a big fan of banking on the small percent big as Andrew that can't defend themselves. I've taken one on the, he's kind of taken one for the team. The shonen anime protagonist that like leave. I am now like a person who has fought on the battlefield, and like that's not real. And I'm not really interested in use a fucking gas. Like I'm not gonna use gas. If they want to use weapons, right? Like you set the tone. Like you're the ones that fucking did it. So like now we're having a nuclear war.
Bro, I don't know what video I watched last night. This is not it.
I have my textbook from women's studies, one of the class bullshit credits, and so I was like, well, that sounds easy. I mostly have a high school education.
At Cox, your internet and mobile price won't change for 5 years, from 5 Halloweens to 5 4th of July.
How about no? How about shut the heck up? Jeez, that was a long. What the hell? Double? And I still need to find that video. I don't know what I watched, but she was ranting about magic.
Retract the
Leaflet
allegation.
substituted BS with pure geekery. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, like I did a lot, right? It's not like I didn't do anything, right? So like, you know, I know I made it sound like I didn't really do anything, but you know, when I stopped to like basically mid tier, right? Like like my cleaning skill is just bad.
For one time engaged.
I think I might have found it. Let's try this one.
The civilization of Moloch.
Because I've got a really unpleasant thing I've got to talk about, which is abortion, and I don't like it.
Oh, my favorite
so
topic.
The Carthaginians, in times of crisis, used to sacrifice the babies, firstborn sons, I think it was, or whoever it was, babies from noble houses in Carthage. And sometimes we've got reports of them sacrificing hundreds of these at a time. And this was considered a practice to the Greeks and Romans that was so barbaric that eventually the Romans just wiped them out. And never was anyone in regret about this.
Back on it the same way people look back on under the rules before.
See, which is really what they do this for continued to continue their lives as they had been, and for the gods to invoke victory and success on their side. And really not much has changed. And in Britain it's just getting worse to the actual point of genuine baby sacrifice. And I'm not,
which is like, that's crazy. Like you're right, like when a baby exists, right? So according to this, you could, it's arms or legs or whatever, they're all the difference mechanically. There's no difference.
Yeah, no, of course.
Like, they'll still put things out of context. It's actually you and your kids. So get to it.
Fetal remains alongside other rubbish to generate power for heat. Because
Yes,
of
it
course
looks like they.
This was a story that I had heard yesterday. Yeah, it was the 2014 case in the UK.
Is that they're saying that human life, the value of human life itself is dependent on technology.
That in itself is a
legal at the time. That their mother abandoned them. So like by there being mental, it's a spell. It's a defensive spell. It's a actually so diabolical, right? Infect people with. They infect people with the idea the fetus is not a person and it's a clump of cells. This is very specific. It's very intentional that they frame it like this isn't a person. This is literally like a clump of cells. This is like if you bled, if you cut yourself and you bleed a little bit, it's the same thing, right? They use that framing intentionally to absolve themselves from guilt, right? Because it's not a baby. So like if you change the language to say abortion, no, it's a baby and you kill it, but you know what? You free them, right? It's important. They would not accept that framing. It's a mental, it's a spell. It's a defensive spell. It's a clump of cells is a defensive spell that they cast on this. It's like a self-genjutsu.
Yes. I was gonna object to her calling it a spell. It's not really a spell. So like I was stating earlier in the stream, I very much believe in essentially spiritual forces, demons, but I don't think that they are literally physical. Much in the same way I believe in magic, but I just don't think that magic is the same as we view it in fantasy, like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and Frieren. When it comes to spells and magic, we aren't invoking like literal physical energy in order to attack our enemies. I believe that language itself is magic. When you look at the word spell, it is utilized interchangeably for a reason. When you spell out a word, you're breaking down the spell. You're breaking down the individual elements that make up the word itself. The magic isn't in the what would you say? The magic isn't separate. It isn't a separate thing that exists in the world. The magic is the language, and the spell is the manner in which you construct the words that are utilized in that language. When you look at the word enchantment, enchantment is also a word that is utilized within the language that we describe magic with. In Spanish, enchantment is encanto. What does it mean to cantar, which would be the root of encanto? Cantar means to sing. What do you do when you chant? You're enchanting. An enchantment, an encanto, would essentially be a type of magic that utilizes a repetition of words out loud. And we see this type of magic utilized in protests, right? When people are chanting, when they're rallying together behind a message that is easily repeatable, that puts an idea into the masses' psyche, which riles up a certain emotion in them. That is an enchantment. And it is a bit of a persuasive type of magic, which is also why the term enchanting is utilized to describe a person who is alluring in some way, right? Then the genjutsu from Naruto, I don't know if there is an English term that is commonly known that could help to describe this type of magic, but I do believe that Naruto did a very good job of sort of describing that type of magic within its lore, which is why I'm just going to use the term genjutsu. A genjutsu is a type of magic that is purely visual based, and that's actually why only the that's actually why the Uchiha clan and the people who utilize the Sharingan within Naruto lore are very well versed in genjutsu, particularly. And what a genjutsu is a magic that changes your perception in one way or another. In the Naruto lore, we have seen examples of genjutsu being utilized to make people believe they are under attack, to make people believe they are seeing something that isn't truly there. It is purely visual in nature, but it does harm the psyche, and it does it can cause physical damage. But it is primarily a visual magic. It is meant to change your perception of the world. And so genjutsu can be verbal, or it can be the hell did I do? It can either be verbal, or it can be purely visual, like just flat out. In that sense, I believe that movies, videos are a type of genjutsu, because they're meant to present you with an image that helps to change your perception.
Genjutsu themselves to like believe that like it's not a person, therefore it can be killed, because that absolves them of the future guilt of, well, I gave up the kid for adoption, that kid exists somewhere and that kid is looking at me and shaming me. Dude,
that type of genjutsu would be a sort of illusory magic, which makes an individual appear as though they are a target of attack. And we've seen this type of magic utilized in fantasy many times, where you are under a type of visual magic that makes you think that your allies are your enemies, essentially. You look to them and you believe they're your enemies, and so you begin attacking them.
like the level of like mental clarity I have now is insane. Like it's insane, dude. Like
And she specifically stated that it was a protective type of spell because it helps to absolve you of the guilt and responsibility. I'm not sure just yet if that is a fundamental part of that type of magic. It could be, but I'm just not sold on it quite yet.
It's like, it's crazy. I can just see it. I can see it all.
Based handmade.
Actually, I have been witnessing leaflets sort of developing theory on magic for the past few months, and I have been screaming while I listen to her videos because I've actually been developing the same idea independently, thanks to a variety of different sources. And I've been developing this idea for about a year or two, closer to 2. And essentially it came by through the fact that I listened to a lot of theoretical physics and news about the science of reality. And I was listening to the more recent breakthroughs in theoretical physics where people have come to be aware of quantum entanglement and the phenomena of perception. I don't know if that's the correct term, but essentially in quantum entanglement, two particles can be interlinked at long distances without any actual physical contact. Kind of like some kind of weird metaphysical like Wi-Fi connection or Bluetooth connection. And on the other hand, geez, I lost my train of thought. So on the other hand, there has been a growing there has been a noticing from the scientific community that for some reason certain particles simply don't activate until a conscious observer is actively engaging with it and perceiving it. And that kind of helped me to further flesh out my idea that reality both is and is not all at the same time, kind of like we're all just a giant Schrodinger's cat experiment, which kind of plays into my idea that everything both is and isn't, you know, physically or metaphysically. And because consciousness is an activating factor for whether or not particles are active and reactive, I believe that language is a magic force within the universe, because language is a sort of like channeling of consciousness and a redirecting of consciousness as well. Like I stated earlier, Genjutsu is a type of redirecting of your consciousness, a means of changing your perspective, your perception.
Handmaid's Tale future. Thank you, Stella.
Many of us are screaming and shouting and saying, look, The Handmaid's Tale was meant to be science fiction.
Don't care. Didn't read it. Don't care. Not interested. You are, when we win, we fucking won.
Birth canal, and like it's about to be what's even the difference, right? So is it the actually I canceled that out. I'm not a mother actually, because all I had was a clump of cells, not a human person. And that's why they do it. That's why they don't want to give it up for adoption, because then they're constantly thinking I'm a mom or I'm a father who has abandoned my child, and it like affects their ego, right? Their psyche. I think that's it. I think that's actually the reason. I think my analogy is like actually perfect. That they self-genjutsu themselves. Nothing happened because it's just, you know, it's whatever. It doesn't matter. It's like a clump of cells. Whatever. You know, whatever. Like, do I feel bad when I get a cut and I bleed? It doesn't really feel bad. Is that really a person? No, it's a clump of cells. It's like in a petri dish, like, you know, like you got like some bacteria or something. It's like literally the same level of existence. Dude, that's like, the level of like self-delusion is crazy. And
it's literally what it is, a self de-illusion. But what is actually the proper definition of a delusion? So delusion is a fixed false belief held despite strong evidence to the contrary, often stemming from underlying mental health conditions like schizophrenia, neurological issues, or severe stress. Why is it spelled delusion though? Like delusion. It's a little bit confusing. I wonder what the actual root of that word is.
It's literally a spell. It's literally like illusion magic that they cast on themselves. Dude, magic is like
Yeah, it is an illusion magic, and much like a delusion, it's a fixed belief, and the belief is so strongly fixed onto your psyche, onto your consciousness, that no matter how much evidence you're presented of the contrary, it is very difficult to shake.
Actually kind of real. It's just not what you think it is. Magic, dude, it's like Umineko magic. Umineko's version of magic is real.
I need to watch Umineko because I have no idea what the reference is, honestly. But yeah, magic is, from what I understand, it is real. It's just not what we think of when we watch things like Harry Potter and other fantasy stories.
Drew Invictus, thank you so much for the 1,000. Hi, Leaf. Don't you think that these ghouls had any grasp of biological science? They'd realize that Columbus... No, I don't think it... Dude, everybody knows it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it's a delusion. The term literally means a fixed belief that you cannot change with strong evidence.
There's no way. There's no shot, guys. There's no shot that they are actually, like, their IQ is that bad that they can't see the baby and be like, that's not just a clump of cells. There's no way. There's no way. Dude, it is literally a self spell. They know it deep in their heart. If you were to actually, like, peel back the magic, they would know it.
Yeah, they would know it. And but like she stated, specifically if you were to peel back the magic, and that's the thing, it is a genjutsu. It changes your perception of reality itself.
They're intentionally breaking their own brains to, like, make... Dude, this is just the same... This is the same thing as the trans, like, biology thing. It's literally the same thing. It is a self-genjutsu that they use to delude themselves into, like, believing in a truth that isn't real so that they can feel better about themselves. That's all it is. Which is...
And in Naruto Shippuden, I believe the ultimate big like world-shattering event that occurred. I personally didn't finish the series, so I'm going off of what I remember, and I'm trying not to spoil the story too much. But from what I remember, the big world-shattering event that occurs is somebody tries to essentially genjutsu the entire world in order to bring about, like, an era of prosperity, right? But the issue is that when you are changing perception, the way in which you invoke that type of magic has to be hyper-specific, hyper-specialized for the individual. You can't just blanket change everyone's perception with a singular spell, basically. And so that type of magic that is all-encompassing is very fragile. And I think that was essentially the weak point in that story that allowed the good guys to triumph. The bad guys wanted to genjutsu the entire world, but that type of magic is very fragile because of the fact that, you know, it has to encompass everyone and everything all at once, and eventually everything fell apart for them.
This is why they need it so fucking bad. And this is why they have to mind virus literally everybody. Because if they don't mind virus, then their spell can be dispelled. If enough people look at their spell with the anti-magic toxin that spews from your eyes...
And by anti-magic toxin, she means the perception of actual reality. Like I was talking about earlier, for some reason, certain particles do change their constitution, I guess you could say, depending on perception. If we are not perceiving them, they act a certain way. Once we perceive them, they act differently. So the perception of reality does change reality. And so if enough people view your altered perception, it does dispel that magic that you've casted.
Then it breaks all of it down. The illusion is shattered, and then they're exposed, and then to them, that is violence upon themselves because it's violence upon their ego. So when they say that it's like a violent act, it kind of is. Oracle of Hecate, thank you for the 100 bits. It goes much deeper too. You should see what they do with the fibroblast cells that they harvest from baby boys. Yeah, that's different though. That's like different. Like it's like a different kind of, you know, that's like people taking advantage of the evil and their loss. It's true. They need it. That's why they have to infect everyone with their ideas. They have to infect everyone. Something to Archetypus says it's suicide by proxy. They obsess over always happy and have suicide.
The timeline, so it was Carthage. Okay, subject. I'm normal. Lizard brain instinct is handsomely
have logic, that I'll be fine in like every situation because like I can just argue the point. Everyone, people who are pure emotion, like we need those people too. Like we really need our own spellcasters because it's the only way to beat their spellcasters. So like propaganda in of itself is not really bad, or it's a neutral force. It's a neutral force, and like while it feels scummy, while it feels nasty to use it, we have to use it too. Because if we don't use it, we're just gonna die. And like
And that's the thing. A genjutsu is a change of perception, right? So what you want to do is utilize these spells and magic that change people's perceptions, but utilize it for good. You want to change people's perceptions for the better rather than for the negative. And before I go, because I really do have to go, other examples of real life magic, which we don't normally think about, are voodoo, for example. Whenever we talk about straw manning an argument in discourse, it turns out that there really is an actual metaphysical sort of process that goes on with that. The way that voodoo magic works, based off of, you know, the commonly agreed upon consensus, is that you have a doll, which you essentially just poke a bunch of holes into or rod with, and this doll needs to take on an imitation, a form that imitates a real life person. Then you poke holes into it, and that somehow affects the real life person. And funny enough, we do this with our verbal linguistic arguments all the time. We take an imitation of the other person, more specifically their arguments, their opinions, their viewpoints. We imitate it, we mimic it, and then we poke a bunch of holes in it. And this does actually affect the other person, but only if they are susceptible to that magic. Because if you play things right and the other person is susceptible, if you utilize just the right type of language, the other person will see your imitation of them, as crude as it can be, as false as it may be. They will see that as themselves. They will believe that you are literally poking holes into their real stance on matters, and their actual personality and their actual psyche. But other people will look at the more perceptive kind, the people who actually have eyes to see, much like Leaf pointed out, that your eyes can actually pierce through the veil of magic. And also this ties into the Naruto lore with the Sharingan. The Sharingan can actually see through genjutsu and other jutsu. If you actually are perceptive and you can objectively look at the linguistics utilized in someone's straw manning of you, you will realize that what they're attacking, what they're poking holes into, isn't actually you. It isn't actually your argument. It isn't actually a real life representation of you, and you can overcome that type of magic. You will not be harmed by it, because you will realize that it is essentially just the other person taking a mockery of you and then presenting it as if it were you. In any case, that's pretty much all I have to say without completely melting my brain. And I really have to go. So here's what I've been working on. I didn't really get much done today because I was ranting and I was eating. But I've been really liking the way it's been coming together. Jeez, I have so many burps. I probably shouldn't have eaten that guancha. And before I go, just wanted to confirm, yes, magic is real. All it really is language. The way in which you utilize language is magic. You can use it against other people. You can use it for your own self-serving goals. And you should be really careful of how you use your words, because they really do affect others. So, have a good one, and I'll see you next time.